Hi everyone, welcome to Wednesday, December 12th. Just gonna wait a couple minutes here to make sure that I am alive and for a couple of you to come. So let's see, there I think I am. So if anybody who sees me, if you could comment for me, let me know that you're able to see me and that I am live, and that would be wonderful. So I think I see a couple of you out there so far. Anyway, I want to thank you guys again for allowing me to go live on Wednesday instead of Thursday. My daughter's band concert, we had the middle school band and orchestra concert on Tuesday night. So my younger daughter Claire was in that concert. And then this coming Thursday is my older daughter Natalie, the high school band an orchestra concert. So we're getting double whammied this week with band and orchestra concerts. But it was beautiful Tuesday night, and I'm sure it's going to be just as beautiful on Thursday. So I'm kind of looking forward to, hi Patty, kind of looking forward to seeing the high school perform as well. So a few things before we get started. Most of you know to feel free to share my my post here. If you share my post, you get in the drawing to receive some free stuff. And so, and Patty's already shared it. Look at that, Patty, way to go. And so I'm going to talk about first who the winners of last week's drawing, and then I'll show you what's up for grabs this week. I will also tell you that next week we will resume back to our normal Thursday night at 7 p.m. I know tonight did not work for a lot of you. You're going to be catching me on replay. That's completely fine. That is why I post it, and that is why we have replay. So, but I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware that I won't be going live every single Wednesday. It was just a couple of weeks here. So anyway, the winners of last week for sharing my video are, we have a package of the Blossoms Elements, and those go to Marianne McGinnis. So congratulations, Marianne. Marianne watches me time and time again. She's one of my tried and true out there. So Marianne, thank you so much. Those will be coming in the mail to you shortly. And then the winner of the metallic edged ribbon, this is the Berry Burst ribbon, and this goes to Vicki Yackel. So Vicki, congratulations. That will also be coming in the mail to you. And Vicki lives over in the Thumb area where I'm originally from. That's how I kind of know Vicki a little bit. So that will be coming to you, Vicki, through the mail. So again, if you're just joining, make sure you share my video. Up for grabs this week is a package of the mini sequin trim. This is the black sequin trim. So it's really nice and sparkly. I don't want to take it out of the package too much. And the other item that I have up for grabs is the gold faceted gems. Now these gems coordinate really well with the daisy punch. So if you don't have the daisy punch yet, there's a daisy stamp set and punch. They coordinate really well right in the center of those daisies. So I encourage you to take a look at that in the catalog as well. Just a few announcements before we get into our projects for tonight. And again, you know, everyone's getting ready for the holidays, and so I think even Stampin' Up's starting to realize that we're starting to get ready for the holidays, because there wasn't as much in their updates for us as demonstrators this week as well. A couple of things I want to make sure you guys know. I'm not running an actual ordering promotion as part of my Facebook Live tonight, because December is my customer appreciation order month. Any customer of mine that's ordered from me over the past year gets 20% off an order during the month of December. Now that order cannot be in conjunction with any kind of a club that you might belong to. So if you're a member of my club, I'm sorry, it can't count towards that because of the host rewards and how that works for my club members and host members. But if there's anything else that you wanted, I would encourage you to get that at 20% off. A couple ways in which you can do that. You could email me the order. Hi Sonia, hi Sharon. You could email me the order, and I'd be happy to submit it for you, and then you can either call me with a credit card number or get a check in the mail to me. or you can order directly online using the host code on my website. You go to kimsbasementbunch.com. Up on the top right hand side, there's a shop now icon with a host code right there, and you enter that host code that I have open for the month of December. And then what I would do is I would reimburse you your 20% via rebate. You get a check to you in the mail, or issue you a credit towards your next one. We'll figure it out, but I do have to do that manually because it's a promotion that I'm running as your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. It's not a promotion that the company is doing, so it is something that I'd have to do for you. But I've done this promotion every single year in December. I think I've actually had one of my good customers message me on December 1st saying, are you doing that promotion again that you've done in the past? She's gotten used to it. And so I said, of course I am. So anyway, I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. It's a great time to get any of your last minute Christmas items that you might want for any of your family or friends at craft, or even for yourself if you have your spouse or a significant other that you don't know what to get. Tell them to give you some Stampin' Up! Stuff. They would get 20% off an order as well because you're one of my customers. But again, like I said, it's a really great way to get anything on your wish list that you might want at a discount. Now, tomorrow is the last day to order before that Stampin' Up's guaranteeing you'll have it in time for Christmas, okay? So they said to us, December 13th, we guarantee in time for Christmas. Anything after that date, they're not going to guarantee it'll be there before Christmas. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. If there's something that you want to get ordered and you want it before Christmas, you need to order it with me tomorrow. Catalogs. So those of you, please, I would love it if a couple of you would let me know that, of those of you who are long distance, when you receive your catalogs. Stampin' Up! Started shipping catalogs to anybody that lives, we had to do a selection of who we want to send catalogs to versus who we want to hand them to. So any of you that are my long distance customers, you've bought online from me, you're part of my club, you will have a catalog coming in the mail to you directly from Stampin' Up! Those started shipping this week. So please let me know if you receive them. If one or two of you would message me, I don't care if you all message me, I love hearing from you guys. But if you would message me and just let me know that you received it, that kind of gives me a good gauge that they're getting out there and getting in your hands. Local customers, I received them today. I have not had a chance to open up my box of goodies yet, but I know that it's here because I tracked it and it's sitting up in my kitchen area. We had Advent service that I went to with my girls before I started doing my Facebook Live, and on Wednesday nights my youngest daughter Claire has her religion class for her confirmation next year. So I literally got home at 6:20, put my notes down together for you guys, and here I am. So I haven't even had a chance to open that up yet. But again, those of you long distance, you should be receiving them this week or next week. So please let me know once you do. So again, my lives this last 2 weeks were on Wednesday. They will resume to Thursday starting next week. So thank you guys for your patience, your understanding. I appreciate it. I'm sure I'll be posting some pictures of my other daughter's band concert on Thursday, and it's kind of fun. It puts you in the Christmas spirit, and to see these young musicians and how far they've come from playing band when they started, or playing their instruments in the band from when they started to where they are now, it's just astounding. I am just floored at how amazing they get in such a short time. It's awesome. So anyway, my Facebook Lives will resume next Thursday, 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Couple more things. My online bingo. Many of you mentioned my December 18th date did not work, and that's okay. I'm going to be moving it to January 8th. I've had a couple of you that have already RSVP'd and registered. I'll be reaching out to you to make sure that that January 8th date works. If not, I'll be able to issue you a reimbursement on that. But we're going to do it after the first of the year. And I might even surprise you guys and have a couple of bundles in the prizes from the New Occasions catalog. So I'm kind of excited about that I'm able to get my hands on a couple of things early for you guys so that you can have a couple prizes from that catalog. That catalog goes live January 3rd. So I'll do my best to have a couple prizes that are from that catalog. And so I will be updating my registration link, changing the date, and getting that reposted. So if you're interested in my bingo, it's $40. And my bingo class is done via Facebook. So I have a separate group. I do a Facebook Live just like I am with all of you right now. And I send you in advance your bingo cards, your make and take kit to make some cards. We play bingo. The cost is $40, but that includes any of the shipping of the prizes to the winners of the bingo. Last time Penny was our big winner. I'm not sure if Penny's watching live right now, but Penny cleaned house last time. I think she won 3 of the 4 games. I was just like, wow. And Penny has been one of my bingo players for every single one that I've done so far. So if you have any questions about how it is and if you like it, I want to refer you to Penny. But yeah, she has done every single one that I've offered, and it's fun. They are fun. It's fun to see who gets a bingo. And I've had a couple people say to me, well, what happens if I lose connectivity, or what happens if I can't get on my internet that night? What I do is I have people here playing your bingo cards as well. So I take a picture of them before I send them to you. I have people here in my house, in my basement, playing your cards for you. So usually I have 1 or 2 of, you know, if you get a bingo, they might raise their hand and tell me, hey, someone's got bingo. And then I just kind of wait. I might say, okay, I think someone out there has a bingo, and I wait for it to register through our Facebook Live. So I don't want you to feel that, you know, it's unfair. If you have a bingo, you're going to get your bingo, irregardless if you are able to actually join us or if you can't join us. But bingo's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, a fun event, a fun way for us to connect online and to people that I don't get to see very often. So January 8th, save the date. I'll be getting that posted later this week with a new registration link for that. It lasts about 1 hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. We start at 7 o'clock, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention to all of you guys is I am so close. I can't tell you guys how close, but even closer, like it's going to happen soon, to my $300,000 career to date milestone. And for those of you that maybe haven't heard me tell this story before, those of you that have, I'm really sorry to bore those of you that may have already heard this. But Stampin' Up, every time that we receive or earn, I should say, or get to $100,000, each $100,000, they recognize us at our onstage event. So when I got to 100,000, they recognized me. When I got to 200,000, they recognized me, so on and so forth. And I'm not going to actually be able to go to onstage in April because it is the same weekend as my daughter's dance recital. And as all of you know and all of you understand, family is first. And as much as I love Stampin' Up, and I'm going to be so sad to miss that event, there's no way I would miss my daughter's dance recital. Daughter's dance recital. 2 daughters, 1 recital. Well, there's actually 2 recitals. But anyway, they're the same day. So I will not be able to attend. So I won't be able to actually walk the stage to get the recognition for that. But I'm going to celebrate with all of you. So you will all know about it once I reach that milestone. But it is huge. I mean, every $100,000, I look at what I do with my Stampin' Up business, and I don't really want to call it a business because this is my fun job. I love it. I love sharing what I do with all of you, all your feedback and the friendships. So I'll be sharing it with all of you guys, and that's why one lucky winner, the person who puts me over that $300,000 career to date milestone, will get a $100 shopping spree courtesy of me. So you'll be able to pick out $100 of stuff, and I will ship it to you. And it's also a good time to get things like the Big Shot if you don't have it yet, or some of the clear blocks, some of the more expensive items, blends, that sort of thing. And then when we reach $1 million, which I know I'm a long ways away, but it is my goal. It is my goal. I will get to 100 million. We get actually a trip to the home office of Stampin' Up, where we get to they pamper you. They give you all kinds of stuff, and we get to actually meet with a concept artist and design a stamp set of our choice. So when you guys are getting your catalogs and you're looking through them, if you ever see on the very bottom, it's an octagon gold shape and it says $1 million across it. That is a demonstrator who reached their $1 million career to date sales, and that is the stamp set that they were able to design. And so I just wanted to make sure that you guys all understood when you see that what it might mean when you see someone's earned or $1 million stamp set. So anyway, I'm hoping to be there someday, but right now I'm so close to that $300,000 mark, and like I said, the person who puts me over that, and I will announce it as soon as I possibly can, will get a $100 shopping spree. And I'm really thinking it'll happen this month with my ordering promotion that I have going on for my 20% off. It might even happen in the next few days. So anyway, that's all I'm going to tell you guys on that. So tonight, what I'm going to be sharing with you, I don't have anything else in the way of announcements. So tonight, what I'm going to be sharing with you is one of the bundles. And I got to tell you, I know Marianne McGinnis will be watching this Facebook Live later. She has been one of the ladies that's watched me from the very beginning. So Marianne, thank you for investing your time in me and watching me. But she won a drawing that I did a while back where I was giving away a free bundle. Everybody got their name in the drawing for putting in, I think it was a $50 order. And Marianne McGinnis won that bundle. And this is the bundle that she chose. And so I had this bundle. I didn't own this bundle yet. But she inspired me because when this bundle came to my house and I was packaging it up to send to her, I realized that I really kind of liked it. So it is called the Winter Woods. And there's coordinating framelits that go with it, and I'm going to show you those in detail here in just a little bit. And this stamp set is what I also featured my Terrific Tuesday video on. Most of you saw the awesome card that my son and I made together. He was here playing, having fun with me. So I designed the little shadow box part, told him these are the 2 things you get to work with. Make me design a card. He designed the rest. I think he did pretty dang good, you guys. So anyway, he didn't want me taking pictures of him. And I said, well, you know those few times that you call me and say, Mom, can I borrow $20 until I get paid? I'm a little short this week. I said, you know, that extra stuff is my Stampin' Up! Stuff, money that I make doing my Stampin' Up! Stuff. So I kind of guilted him into letting me take a couple of pictures of him, but I think he would have let me irregardless. So I had to make sure he knew that he was posted all over on my blog for that. So if you haven't checked out my blog post, I know some of you might go right to YouTube, look at my video. Go to my blog, kimsbasementbunch.com. It's the very first blog entry there, and there's pictures of my 29-year-old son making one of the cards that I showed you guys on Tuesday. I'm going to actually show you that a little bit close up too here. I have that sitting out as well. So I guess you can kind of say this is my featured product of the week because I played with it a lot this weekend and had a lot of fun with it. And it was also one of my classes that I offered this last month as well. And so I'm going to show you those cards and kind of go over the framelits a little bit in more detail. So with that, let's go ahead and get started and do some stamping. So I'm going to transition down to my stamp table and let's have some fun. Okay, so first of all, I would love to know if you guys to comment on here and tell me maybe what one of your favorite holiday traditions is. I know one of mine is going and looking at Christmas lights. My parents used to always take us and go look at Christmas lights. And so I always love to hear what other people's traditions are. Whoops, let me fix this a little bit, you guys. I got to straighten it out. I got it a little crooked. And then I'll adjust it here in just a moment so that you guys can also see everything just fine. There we go. But yeah, I'd love to know what your guys' traditions are. Like I said, ours was we used to drive around town and look at Christmas lights, and I absolutely loved it. I need to get this here a little bit better. I think I have my camera in here a little bit too far to the right, so there we go. There we go. Now I'm better. Okay, you guys. And I'm going to zoom in here in just a moment, and you'll be able to see these projects a little bit better. And my computer that I normally use decided to kind of give me some grief tonight. So I'm using something different that I don't normally have to use. So anyway, these are the cards that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight and the projects. I'd like to start first by sharing with you a little close-up of this card that my son made. Isn't it gorgeous, you guys? Didn't he do a great job on that? So this card is called the Shadow Box card. And it is, you know, it's designed to set up. It's designed to give, I have one sitting on my counter at work right now. I made a second one. This is the one I actually demoed in my video that I showed you guys. And I decorated it a little bit more with some of the additional embellishments. But those framelits are amazing. And this project right here did not even use the Winter Wood stamp set. It only used the framelits. And so I want to make sure that you guys kind of see the framelits in detail. I think this will be one, as most of you know, I do a huge BOGO sale, but this will be one that I'll be keeping. I don't think I'll be getting rid of these framelits because the more I played with them, the more I fell in love with them. So anyway, just wanted to show you guys that up close and personal. So the first project that I want to share with you today, nope, I'm going to wait on that one, is this beautiful one right here. And what I like about this one is this is something that I haven't ever featured for any of you in one of my videos before. Now, I will tell you though that I know I've showed you guys some of the sponging techniques before. So the sponging techniques, I'm going to try to zoom in here, you guys, a little bit more. So the sponging techniques shouldn't be too hard. Most of you have seen me do them before. But what I'd never shown you before is how let me get my notes over here, is how I do a card where the back is just a piece of cardstock and my actual card is glued down to the back of that piece of cardstock. Can you see that? And let me tell you why I like to do that. So I like to do it this way because sometimes, you know how when you do a card, if I was to use Night of Navy as my card base, I would have to put a piece of Whisper White on the inside so that you'd have room to, thank you, Bonnie, I'm glad you like that card, so that you would have room to be able to write. And so this is just a little bit of a different take on it. It gives you, when the card is closed, it gives you the look that you're looking for with the matting, but when you have the card open, you have your space to write without having to add any more cardstock. So I want to be able to give you guys the measurements on this. The piece of the Night of Navy is actually just a 1/4 piece of cardstock. So that is literally cut 5.5 by 4 1/4. And then I have a piece of basic black that I put on there. Now I normally don't cut my mats to the 1/8 of an inch, and I did on this one. So on this one it's 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So there's not quite as much black showing as normal. And then my piece of Whisper White, this whole piece right here, is cut. Oh, I should tell you first though, this is another piece of white. What you see all this blue stamping on, this is actually white as well. So that white is 5 by 3 3/4. And then this whole piece that I have right here is cut 5 1/4 by 8, and it's scored at 4. Now I'm going to attempt, you guys, when I go back into this later, to put these measurements inside in a comment. One of you recommended that, and I love that you guys give me feedback like that. So absolutely, I have these measurements written down. I will post them into the comments. I've also been posting my Facebook Lives on YouTube, so you guys can feel free to look back on YouTube and you'll be able to see these videos as well. That's the one thing that's kind of hard with Facebook Lives, is that you might have to kind of struggle with trying to figure out where to find it, but I'm going to start putting those directions into a comment for you guys. So anyway, let me show you guys how I created this card. Let me find my little packet. So I prepared all these projects over the weekend, and the only problem with that is then trying to remember how I did everything. So anyway, bear with me here as I pull everything out. Let me show you the framelits that I used for this, because the framelits are awesome. See my snow, how my snow has that little ridged look to it? There is a framelit in here, and I love it, that actually gives you, I'll be showing you guys those here in just a moment. But there's a framelit in here that's just an edgelet. And a question that I get from so many people, so I'm going to explain the difference. What's the difference between a framelit, an edgelet, and a thinlet? So here's my definition. A framelit is something like this one right here. So this is a framelit. It's a framed image. It's going to cut out an object. So your circles, your squares, your things like that, those are framelits. Now a thinlet is a little bit more detailed. So a thinlit is going to have more details to it. It might still cut an image out, but it's going to have more detail, more overlay, things like that to it. An edgelet is literally a framelit or a thinlet that just simply cuts the edge off of something. So I simply put this little thinlet down here, I gotta find which way I put it, like that. And I cut off that top part to make it look like it was a snowbank, okay? Now these framelits all come as part of the Winter Woods, or In the Woods framelits. So you get 2 of these trees, which I'll show you guys in more detail. You get that little edgelet for snow. And then you also get some pine cones that go with the stamp set. But I also like these. So this is the one that I used on that shadow box card that I showed you earlier. And then you also get some of these little trees right here that you'll see on another project here in just a bit. So you can do a lot with just these framelits. You don't even hardly need to have the stamp set. Again, you could just use the framelits and do lots of stuff with it. So I'm going to share with you guys how I got this, the scene that I have on here. Now what I like about this card is it doesn't have to be be Christmas themed. So this might be a card that I send out to somebody in after the holidays. So thinking of you this season, it could be an after the holidays. Some people send out Christmas cards after the holidays. Or you could just change that sentiment up and maybe have it say thinking of you just in general. This would also be a really good sympathy card. And so let me show you how I did that. So I used a circle punch. I used a 1 1/4 inch circle punch, and I punched out a piece. This is a piece that I used to make my my sample with. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp some trees. I need to go find my stamps, you guys. I took this class with me today and forgot to grab my stamps. So bear with me while I grab those. Okay. So I'm actually going to be stamping these trees right here that you see in the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp those in the back area here using my Memento black ink. So let me get my Memento black ink out, and I'm just going to be inking this up really, really good. And I am going to stamp. Let me bring my sample back in so you guys can kind of see it. So I'm going to be stamping up kind of high. There's my first row of trees. And then I'm going to stamp it again. And this time I'm going to have the rest of them go off the paper. I'm only going to stamp 2 of them on there. And it's okay if they're a little crooked. See how mine are crooked? It's okay because you're going to cover some of that up and no one's going to see. And not all tree lines are always straight anyway when you think about it. And then what I did is I took my little circle punch and I put it where I wanted it. Now you could put a glue dot underneath of here. I've gotten pretty good at just hanging on to my pieces. Let me move this up so you guys can see. I'm gonna wait a second so I can make sure that you guys can see that really well. The ink pads that I use is Coastal Cabana, Balmy Blue, and Night of Navy to make my winter scene. And I'm gonna start with my Balmy Blue. And I used sponges. So my sponges, I know some demonstrators actually have sponges that they put little labels on with the names of them. I don't. I literally cut my sponges into wedges. I get 8, like a pie. I cut it like a pie. It's a circle. I get 8 wedges out of each sponge, and I just wash them. So that is all I ever do. I just kind of wash them out. I'm going to hold this here, and I am just going to be inking around the edges or sponging around the edges of this circle to kind of get some blue around the outer edge of where this circle is. Now those of you that have seen me do this before, I'm sorry. I know I've got some newer people that probably had never seen this done, so this technique is kind of fun to do. So you could also make like fall scenes, all kinds of different things with that. So that is my blue. Now I'd probably do a little bit more if I was making this card. I wanted to have you guys with me for hours and hours, but I don't think you guys want to be on here for hours and hours. Next is my Coastal Cabana, and all I want to do is kind of go on top of that blue a little bit, and I just want to give it another little bit of a different color, different shade, kind of like it's the sun going down or the moon coming up. With a little bit of a reflection. So I'm just going to kind of go around. So I'm going kind of blending in with that other blue and going right around where I already was with my Coastal Cabana. Okay, so that's what I have so far. And then the rest of it, I'm using Night of Navy. Now I use the exact same sponge to do all of this, but if you were making this card in quantities, you'd want 3 different sponges. But because I started with my lightest and I'm going to my darkest, I'm not really making a mess of my ink pads. But I would not advise you starting with navy and going into your balmy blue because you'll have a messy ink pad. So then I'm gonna go ahead and put that little circle right back on there. And I'm going to go into my Night of Navy. Now your Night of Navy is going to be an ink pad that has a lot of color to it. So I kind of go into the color, kind of get some of it off, and then ease my way onto the cardstock. If I was to go right on here, I'd have a blotch. So I kind of go off a little bit and then do my circular motion. And that just takes off any of that excess so that I don't have a lot of color on there. And I am not dipping very hard into this ink at all. This blue Night of Navy ink pad is a brand new one. Now if I wanted a more vivid color, I would, if I wanted my blue to be a little bit darker, but I don't want it to be too dark. So I'm kind of using it sparingly, and I'm going to avoid the area where I put that other blue because I don't want to cover up my all of the other blue that I put on. See, I got a little bit of a spot there, so And you can just kind of keep blending, and it'll work. You can kind of work with it and get it a little bit where you want the ink to be. And again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time making this perfect because I want you guys to kind of get the idea and the gist of it. But there you have a beautiful stamped image that you can create. So think of the sunsets you could do in the fall time and things like that. So love it. So remember, that was a piece of white cardstock, right? So from there, we're going to layer it onto that basic black, and I will be putting again all of these measurements onto my into the comments, and I'll also have them in my Facebook, my YouTube video as well, so you guys will have them. I'm going to layer this onto the black, and that little bit of a black just offsets that so much. So from there, I'm going to use my piece of cardstock. Remember, this is going to actually be the piece that is my card. So I'm going to be adhering this onto the front of this, like so. And so can you see where layering is huge on this card? This card really pops because of all of the layering of cardstock that I've done. Now this one is going to then get glued onto the back of here, and there you have a beautiful card. So because I want this to stick really good, this is the one instance where I will go around this entire card. I normally don't do that. I normally do a little bit in the four corners, a little bit in the center, but I will actually go all the way around this card and a little bit in the middle, 2 little strips, and I will actually glue this down here so that it sticks really, 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 really good. Look how pretty that is. So from there, I simply used a piece of our glimmer, or no, this is called our sparkle. This is our sparkle glimmer paper. And I used that edgelet that I showed you earlier, cut that off. I adhered this down to my card, and you can move it up if you want a little bit. You can move it down if you want a little bit. Doesn't really matter. I used the deer from the Dashing Deer to make a silhouette of this little baby deer. I adhered that with a dimensional right there. And then I used one of our punches, and I'm not sure what the name of this punch is. I'm going to apologize right now. But I stamped the greeting from the Winter Woods stamp set that says thinking of you this season, and I adhered that with Stampin' Dimensionals here as well. I want to make sure that you guys can see how I ink distressed around this shape right here. I do that on a lot of my cards and a lot of my projects, and so for any of you that are new just joining me, I want to show you how I do that. So I actually use an ink pad, and I'm going to use the exact same ink or sponge I've been using. So when I made this card, I didn't think that the white on the sparkle paper showed up very good. And so I wanted to be able to have that stand out a little bit. So what I did is I just went into the ink and I distress inked these edges up. And it just gives you a little bit of a pizzazz look to this, and it makes it stand out a little bit more amongst that snow. Can you see how much that stands out so much better? So anyway, I'm not going to be stamping my thinking of you this season on that card, because this will probably be a card that I'm going to make for just a standard thinking of you, or a, you know, sympathy card or something like that. But I hope you guys liked that first card. If you did, feel free to like this, love this. I'll see it later. I love it when I see those little hearts coming up and everything from you guys liking all my stuff, so it's kind of cool. So that is the first project that I wanted to share with you, a simple card, and I really hope that you guys like this technique of putting that piece of cardstock on the back and actually adhering your card base to that. So again, it gives you the exact same look you're looking for with all the matting. You just don't have to worry about having you know, a white mat inside of it. So anyway, that is the first project that I wanted to share with you. So I hope you guys liked that one. The next project that I'm going to share with you, and it's similar to my Facebook, my Tuesday video that I did this last week. I was actually inspired to make this card from my son's card that he made. But I wanted to also show you, I had a recommendation from my dear sweet friend Shireen, who said, you should show us a little bit more of what to do with the vellum. So I'm like, I love it when you guys give me input and feedback. So I decided to say, yeah, I'm going to show you a couple uses of our vellum. So Stampin' Up! Has what we call cardstock vellum, and it is a vellum that is a little bit thicker than your standard vellum. Let me get the piece out that I'm going to be using today and show you. So our vellum comes, you get it 8.5 by 11 sheets. I think you get 20 sheets. I'm not sure of the cost, but I've cut this one down to, thanks you guys. I'm so glad you guys love that card. I love all the comments already. I cut this piece down to be 5.25 by 4.25, and I actually layered it right on top of my entire card, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit. But this cardstock is called cardstock vellum, and it's a little bit of a thicker vellum than what you would buy anywhere else. I will never go back to any other vellum ever because this is so darn awesome and nice and thick and easy to cut and doesn't rip. So anyway, let me bring in all of the pieces to show you how we're going to design and make this next card. And again, this could also be a really good birthday card for somebody in the winter. I was focusing on cards that you could use outside of Christmas, since I know we're probably, if you send Christmas cards, you probably have already sent them, or they're already made, at least I should say. I know mine aren't sent for my personal cards. All of my customer cards have been sent, and I apologize. There's a handful of you I know that said you didn't get it, and I know you guys were on my mailing list. So those of you that didn't get one, it's coming. I'll get one in the mail to you guys this week. But please know that 20% off coupon applies to you as well. I did not mean to overlook you if I might have, but I know a couple of you that said you didn't get it. I know you guys were on my list, so I apologize. So this time I actually cut the cardstock differently. I have this card being a card that opens up from the top. Now I don't do this very often, and I'll tell you why. Normally my cards open up like, you know, that way. And the reason is if I'm taking my class on the road, which I do a lot of classes in different towns, the cardstock cut this way does not fit into my little baskets, my brown baskets that I take with me. So these are my brown baskets. I'm going to bring one in. And you can see it doesn't fit in there, and then it gets all bent. So I don't always cut this way, but I really liked the look of that for this card right here. So this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock cut at 4.25 on the long side. So you still get 2 card bases out of it. It's just going to fold a little bit different than what you're used to seeing, at least me do. And this would have helped if I would have scored it, but I didn't. So we're just going to fold it. I find that it's a lot better if you score the cardstock when you're doing them this way. So anyway, there's our piece of cardstock. From there, what I've done is I used those exact same trees that I used on my previous card, and I stamped them in the background here using the Night of Navy ink. So I don't even have to clean that off. I'm just going to use the exact same ink and the same stamp. And I'm going to just stamp these here in the back. And I'm going to do a little bit more right there because I have room for one more tree. And so this is where our grid paper comes in handy, because you can easily stamp off and not have a mess by using that grid paper. Okay, when I started making this card and I did stamp those trees on there, to me it looked a little bit too harsh. I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle, and that's where this vellum comes into play. Look at the beautiful look you get just by covering that up and making it look a little bit more frosted. I think it just is so beautiful how that looks. Now the only thing with vellum is that when you use tape or adhesive, you'll be able to see it. So what I actually do is I use glue dots, and I actually glue dot this down in the 4 corners. So then you only have a little glue dot that people might be able to see. And they're looking at your card anyway. They're not going to be looking at your corners. So they're not really going to be able to see that you have a little bit of a glue dot sticking up there in the corner. So we're going to center this the best we can, and I'm going to adhere that down. Look at how pretty that is, just like that. Okay, using the exact same sparkle paper, I did the exact same thing using that edgelet, and I cut some snow, and that snow is going to go right down there as well. Now, I heat embossed my saying, "This thinking of you this season," and so I'm going to, I don't have an electrical to get I have an electrician for a husband. But anyway, I don't have a cord that I set up for myself to be able to bring my heat tool over where I'm doing my video for you guys today. But I am going to show you how I heat emboss that for any of you that might not know. So heat embossing is basically using what we call a Versamark ink pad. I need to close up my Night of Navy ink before I have a mess on you guys. So you use a Versamark ink pad. Versamark is just simply, I call it a sticky ink pad. And you take your stamp into your ink pad and you stamp your greeting. So I used the Thinking of You. I stamped it onto here. And then Stampin' Up! Sells different colors of embossing powder. It kind of reminds me of glitter, but it is colored. So this is the Whisper White. And all you do then is you dump this onto your project and you shake off the excess, and then you use a heat tool that looks kind of like a heat gun, and you heat this up and it melts this plastic into this beautiful, beautiful look. It's kind of a glossy look to it. I love it. And I really think that set this card off as well. So that is what a step that I'm going to actually omit tonight. But if you don't know how to heat emboss or you have more questions, let me know on that and I'd be happy to help you guys out. So from there, I use these two thinlits that I need to show you guys in detail because these thinlits are the magic. This is where the magic happens in this stamp set, if you ask me, or in these framelits. So this is your framelit that's going to simply cut out a tree. So this framelit cut out this white tree. I ran it through the Big Shot, just putting this down on a piece of Whisper White cardstock, ran it through, and I got this tree, okay? Then, using this framelit, now this one has a lot more detail to it. You can see all of those little, looks like little feathers almost. I'm hoping you guys can see that okay. I'm going to make sure I bring it up so you can see. When you run that through the Big Shot, it actually, whoops, and then I drop it on you guys. It actually cuts this out and actually gives you the detail in all of those awesome little. Isn't that cool? So what I did on my project here is I actually folded these up. I just used my fingers a little bit, folded these all up, and you have the dimension that you would need to make it look like a realistic tree. From there, I simply adhered these two together. Let me do that a little bit more here with this one. But I love this. This makes you look like a pro, guys, and you're not. And you don't have to be. I mean, it literally makes you look like a pro, these framelits do. Now, these framelits are available in our holiday catalog. I can tell you that they are also carrying over at least through the next 2 or 3 months. So you'll be able to get these as well. Scrapbook Club and Card Club members, I owe you all an apology because I am so far behind this month. I will be getting an email out and hopefully tomorrow. Tomorrow's my catch-up day. I took the day off from work. I don't want you guys to think I've neglected you. You will be getting an email with information about my club, how it works, how to put your online orders in, so on and so forth. So I didn't forget about you. I just have been so extremely busy between my kids and work and life. So, and most of you are so kind and patient with me, so I appreciate it. So there is the detail that I was looking for, just playing with that a little bit. You just glue these two together. So I'm going to do that now. You could use glue dots, you could use snail. I'm going to put a little bit of snail kind of down the middle here, maybe, if it comes out. And you don't need a lot of this because a little of this goes a long way. I'm just going to adhere those two together like so. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And then I did adhere this down onto my card with some Stampin' dimensionals. So let me grab some dimensionals out of my bin here in the middle, maybe. Most of them might be gone. Here we go. Now I want to make sure you guys know this about our dimensionals as well. So our dimensionals come 3 of these little sheets to a pack for $4. And a lot of times people don't use all of these edges. I actually cut these edges up and I use them because no one is going to see that those edges are not a perfect little octagon or hexagon shape that the rest of them are. So I use every single bit that I can on those dimensionals. So just a tip, if you've been throwing them out, stop, use them up. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this tree onto here as well. And then I used the framelits that I showed you that cuts out these two little, like I call these like little stick trees. And what I did is I just adhered these on. I did cut these down a little bit because I found them to be, if I was putting them on here, they were a little bit too high and I wanted them down a little bit. So I just cut off a little bit of that stem and I adhered these two down like so. And if you're wondering what I use to glue those down, I use our liquid multi-purpose Tombow glue. Now we do sell a two-way glue pen, but I've been struggling with that in my classes. If you don't get the cover on it right away, it starts to kind of clog up and you have to go run it under hot water. I find that using this glue, and a little of this goes a long way as well, just by hanging onto it in my hand, I just add little dots. I don't squeeze very hard at all. I'm not sure if you guys can see here how much glue I'm putting on this, but I don't glue, I don't use a whole lot of it at all. The other option you have, I know I've showed it on my video, is you could put some of this glue onto a little piece of wax paper or onto a little, I use the leftover containers from our embellishments, and then you could just simply use one of our sponges and sponge that glue onto the back of this as well. But that is the glue that I use, and I'm not going to take the time to glue the other one on because I have one more project to show you guys, and I've already been talking to you for 45 minutes. But that is the other tree that I did. Topped it off with some of our red rhinestones, and look at that beautiful card that you have as well. So that is one use of our awesome vellum. And the third project that I want to share with you is my go-to box. So this is a cute little box. So many times I buy things from Amazon. Most of you know I love Amazon. I've bought some earrings, I bought some necklaces, and they don't come in the best packaging. So this is the little box that I've designed that I use for that, for little earrings, little trinkets, little candy, some sort. I've done a video on this years ago, but I wanted to also show you guys how I made this little box using this same bundle. So let me find that project out for you guys as well. So if you guys don't mind me going over, I'll just keep talking. And if you have to leave me, that's okay. You can always come back and watch it later. But I want to be able to show you guys all of this. So let me find my notes because I also have these dimensions written down. So the base of the box is a 5.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. Now you can use any color that you would like. I used Whisper White. And then I scored this using the scoring at 1.5 inch. So it's scored at 1.5 inches on all four sides. From there, it doesn't matter which two sides you want to cut up. You're going to cut up to where the first score line meets the other one. So I'm just going to cut up like this, and turning it over, I'm going to do the other side. And then from there, you're going to fold this up. Now what I do, I want to show you guys what I do. So if you were to fold this up without taking any of that cardstock off, sometimes you have a little bit of an overlay of this on top of that. So I do what's called miter cut. I miter cut all of these to get some of that little excess off, and it just folds the box up so much better. So you can see that I'm cutting a little bit off on these flaps. Not a lot, just a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, nothing fancy, just cutting off some of that excess white, because what I'm going to do then is when I go to glue this together, you're going to see that it's going to go up so much better, and some of that white is gone, and it's going to cover that up really good. So from there, we're going to fold this little box up. And sometimes I've had people tell me, how do you know which side to put your adhesive on? So I always say make a tent. So this is your little tent, and that's the tent that your little friends are going to hide under for, your kids, whatever. And those are the corners on that you want to put your adhesive on. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to this, to these four corners. And then you would do your lid this exact same way. I'm probably not going to take the time to actually do the lid, but I'll give you the measurements on it. And then from there, you just eyeball that up. You put that on the inside, seam to seam with this, and you glue it together. And then you have, I didn't fold that one in, then you have an awesomely cute little box. Look at that. Okay, then your lid, and I'm not going to take the time to do the lid, but the lid is cut 4 5/8 by 4 5/8, is scored at 1 inch. Now what I did before I put my lid together is I stamped it with the birch wood looking stamp from the Winter Wood stamp set. So it is this one right here. And I just stamped it over and over again using crumb cake ink. And then I even stamped it on the other side, you know, filled it this way and did some this way. And then I folded it up the exact same way. And then I have 2 pieces of cardstock for the top. So, and these measurements will be out there as well. But this is the crumb cake that I used. This is the Whisper White that I used. And that Whisper White I also stamped before I put it on there. So I just glued those to my lid of my box. And then I used vellum here as well. So I used a couple of punches. I punched a circle out of crumb cake using the 1 1/4 inch punch. Topped it off with some vellum. And then I stamped the little pine cone. And I also punched that out with a circle punch. These are, again, one of the framelits that we had that we used on my project this last week. And I just stuck those in there, added a bow with my linen thread, and I have a cute little winter themed box that I can use to give little something in it. I don't know how I'll use mine yet, but isn't that a cute little box? So those are the projects that I made to share with you all today using the Winter Wood stamp set and bundle. Now this bundle is $50.25 in our holiday catalog, but remember you can purchase this at 20% off, making this a lot cheaper than that. For anybody who's one of my customers or any of my new club members, you're welcome to do that as well. You could get this bundle, and I will also show you some of the cards that I created for my class this month using this bundle as well. So this was one of the cards, and most of you may have seen these on my website, seen me post them before, but there's just something about seeing them up close and personal that does it a little bit more justice. Again, using that stamp set in the background, using the trees. This is just color on color, so that I stamped the shaded spruce onto a piece of shaded spruce cardstock. So it kind of makes it look just a little bit, I don't know, I love the look of those trees. So there was that card that we did. We also did this card right here. They're still in their plastic, so I'm going to apologize. They're going to be a little shiny. We did that one and this one, and last but not least this one. And these are all posted on my blog as well for you guys to see if you're interested in looking at additional projects and things. So anyway, that is what I had to share with you all today. I had lots of fun making these winter themed projects, and again, this is a bundle that you can get right now. It's in our holiday catalog, $50.25. Or it can be yours at 20% off for my holiday customer appreciation ordering special promotion that I'm offering. And next week I will be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will be sharing with you guys the cards that I created using the Needlepoint Nook bundle that is coming out in our occasions catalog. That was my project for this past weekend as well, so I can't wait to show you guys those as well. So anyway, thank you all for stopping today. Thanks for watching me. Thanks for sharing this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys all back next week. And enjoy your family traditions as you guys get ready for the holidays. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.